This beer, it's really weird. What? This is beer. This beer is really weird. It's like just weird.
Hey there, welcome to the Matty B Files, Tokyo Field Reports, episode 103, DABWM 15. DABWM is an awkward acronym. As you all know, I like awkward acronyms. Too many acronyms these days are forcified, like FISA or UNICEF. They're engineered. I think acronyms are naturally awkward. And that's why I have my own awkward acronym called DABWM. Drink a beer with me. I'm not drinking a beer right now. I'm drinking like a little whiskey highball. And I'm a collector of books. I like books. For example, I got this book in front of me right now called Absinthe and Flamethrowers, Projects and Ruminations on the Art of Living Dangerously. Now you might be wondering, well, I just clicked on a podcast that said 5 things to do in Tokyo. Why am I listening to flamethrowers and absinthe? Good question. It's because of the introduction. Now, if you're coming to Tokyo, you're going to be doing some things, and you're going to be doing some other things, and I want to throw out some sea things. All right, this is from the prologue called "The Age of the Lily-Livered." This is the prologue of Absinthe and Flamethrowers, written by William Gerstel, author of Backyard Ballistics, and I also have one of his other books in front of me, because I am a collector of books, called The Practical Pyromaniac. Build fire tornadoes, 1 candle power engines, great balls of fire, and more incendiary devices. So in this prologue of Absinthe and Flamethrowers, it begins with an abridged form of an essay, kind of turned into a poem. The Age of the Lily-Livered. We could shorten the title to The Lily-Livered Aged, or Lily Liver Age. Oh, but that's just me. Sorry, I didn't mean to go in there right away and shit on your title. Let's begin. We are living in the age of the lily-livered, where everything is a pallid parody of itself, from salt-free pretzels to the schooling of children amid foam corner protectors and flame-retardant paper. I blame the people at the top for setting the tone. I blame the parents. I blame the arbiters of virtue. Sometime over the past generation, we became less likely to object to something because it is immoral, and more likely to object to something because it is unhealthy or unsafe. So smoking is now a worse evil than 6 of the 10 commandments, and the word sinful is most commonly associated with chocolate. Commonly? Gone, at least among the responsible professional class, is the exuberance of the feast. Gone is the grand and pointless gesture. That's abridged form of an essay by David Brooks, New York Times, March 12th, 2005. So we're going back. I've been doing a lot of research into history, and this wow, what are we doing with the younger generation? It comes up a lot in most generations of work. In Chapter 2 of Absinthe and Flamethrowers, Projects and Ruminations on the Art of Living Dangerously, Chapter 2 begins with What is Edgework? And this begins by a quote from one of the best people ever, well, in terms of introducing madness into your mind, Hunter S. Thompson from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Quote, "It was dangerous lunacy, but it was also the kind of thing a real connoisseur of edgework could make an argument for." End quote. The reader begins. No, I'm the reader. The writer begins. I've written this book for readers who want more out of life. A bit more brain stimulation, a little more excitement, perhaps a few more things to talk about at the next cocktail party or social gathering. Drink, if you have a drink, drink. In the next section, I'll make my case as to why reasonable, eyes wide open, and carefully considered risk taking is good for you. My hope is that this book opens your mind to the world of interesting, edgy activities that require no great investment in time or money. Hunter S. Thompson, perhaps the most extreme Big T writer in recent memory, termed these sorts of activities edge work, and he wrote extensively on his pursuit of such experiences. Thompson, HST, explored the areas where only a thin knife-edged boundary exists between the legal and illegal, moral and immoral, life and death, and funny and just plain stupid. In my opinion, he did this more vividly and more transcendently than any other writer. But with due deference to the great gonzo journalist, living life in the golden third precludes incorporating Thompson hallmarks, shotguns, LSD, and anarchy into the lifestyle. It's hard to make them artful, and there is a better path. The art of living dangerously. I kind of disagree. Living dangerously is an art and a science. Agreed. Since artfully dangerous and non-artful edgework activities share some similar characteristics. It's tempting to simply define the art of living dangerously by a loose, quote, I know it when I see it, end quote, definition. However, to be helpful, the concept needs to be reined in, and some structure placed upon it. Upon a great deal of reflection, artful, dangerous living is not all-encompassing. It can be understood based on the extent to which it possesses some key characteristics. Artfully dangerous activities include: they must have short learning curves. They are human-focused as opposed to technology-centric, are not unduly expensive, and demonstrate true but reasonable risk. And that's why I am doing this podcast about the top 5 things you should do when you're in Tokyo. I've assembled this list, and you can consider where I go with it to either be serious, ironic, or just plain stupid. It's really up to you. I've been living in Tokyo for about 12 years now. And you have to sit back sometimes and analyze and think about what you're hearing and seeing at the same time. What you're seeing, we'll get to that later. What you're seeing, what you hear and what you see when you come here for the first time versus living here for a while. So let's get to this list. Did I mention some of the other chapters from the Practical Pyromaniac before we begin? Chapter 2, the flame tube. Chapter 9, the fire piston. Chapter 14, thermocouples. Chapter 17, great balls of fire. Now, this should be an indication of where we're going to go with this. All right. I'm going to begin the list rather simply. Groups versus non-groups. I am a non-group traveler. I travel singly. I haven't been to a lot of Asian countries, but when I travel, I usually go it alone. I bring one person. When you're traveling with the girl or the wife, it's a little bit different because now you're making new experiences together. But I'm more talking about adventure travel. And when I went to Sumatra by myself, and I went swimming in Lake. What's that lake? Not Dumai, Danao Toba, where the volcano 70,000 years ago almost destroyed humanity. It erupted, and like humanity almost lost itself. And there's an island in the middle of this volcanic lake where these non-Muslim animist Christians live, and I befriended some of them. You know, they're kind of like a tour guide in a way too, which is fine. And he took me swimming, and I was in the middle of this volcanic lake, and I swam out from the island, and I saw the ground just disappeared down into this darkness. And in the darkness, I saw the end of humanity. And I was staring at the eye of a shark. I was like a tiny microscopic bug crawling over the eye of a shark underwater. And I went from the edge of the eye and to over the eye, and I saw eternal death. I'm not sure I would have that experience if I was playing volleyball on the island with my friends from university. I don't think I would have that experience. So, let's talk about groups and non-groups. If you're going to come to Tokyo in groups, expect to spend a lot of your time waiting for other people to get their shit together. And then what you're going to do is you're probably going to end up, I don't know, looking at Donald Trump tweets and waiting for your friends, or you're going to be online looking at other blogs. I suggest coming alone. I'm going to go with going it alone. When you go it alone, you have complete freedom, and you don't need to contact anyone. In fact, when you go somewhere new in a group, you go, should we go left here? Should we go right here? What do you guys think? You always have to be in this mind of total consensus. Or if you do come as a group, find a way to get away from your group for an afternoon and be like, guys, I'm sorry, I need to go and get this thing. It's really stupid and boring. It might take a couple of, but we'll come with you. It's okay. No, really, it's okay. I'm just going to go and I'm going to do this thing by myself. And then you go and you do your thing by yourself and you get your little adventure. You go down these roads you wouldn't go down before. You'd live a little bit more dangerously. You might have to interact with people, or you might find a cool restaurant you've never. Oh, what the fuck? I'm fucking hungry. It must be that jet lag. Oh, here looks like a nice restaurant. But when you're with a whole group of people, like somebody might be a vegetarian, somebody's a feminist, and they don't want to go into some restaurant because they don't have like some pro-feminist vegetarian agenda. Sorry. But when you're by yourself, you're like, I don't have to worry about the vegetarian feminists in the group. I can just go and get a big plate of meat at this random place in this back street of Tokyo and gobble it down by myself. And then you might get into some conversations with some locals, and it goes from there. So it gives you a chance to escape from what you would normally just have to have these consensus-based conversations with the group. By the way, I have very few friends. So maybe that's why I recommend solo travel. Oh, groups. I just finished reading this book called The Crowd by Gustave Le Bon. And it's just like, not having friends seems to be better. Obviously not. I have friends, but whoosh. I'm really wondering about groups of more than 4 people. If you get to groups of 7, except for music, even music you're pushing it. If you're in a group with 7 people, try to get away within an hour. Sports are usually over in an hour. You can feel your identity diminishing into the crowd and your IQ, and everyone just starts talking about television. All right. Here's the second point. Okay, you come to Tokyo, it's your time to shine. You are the star, obviously. That's why you're here. You're here because you got technology and you're ready to use it. So that's why you should film everything in real time. film everything in real time, and upload it to social media sites. That way, while you're connected to your group, when you go and film large clocks, and when you go to busy intersections that have been in millions of movies anyways, and when you find some crowd, some street that's really busy, you and all your friends can film that street, film those ticket gates, and upload that special footage up to social media. And then you're the star. You are the star. You going to these places with millions of other people, and half of them are filming themselves doing the exact same thing as you, makes you the star. You are ready for likes on social media. So when you come to Tokyo, what I really recommend is you go to places where everyone else goes, and then you hold up cameras. Make sure you're in most of the frame, because you don't know what you look like in this place you've never been before, which is totally new for you. Really doesn't need to be in the frame at all, because this is about you. You're the star. You're the star. So take those selfies, take those Instagram stories with 50 other people in a line filming the same thing behind you, and make sure that's a real important part of your trip, so that everybody you're with can connect to everybody you know, seeing you do things that millions of other people are doing, but you're the star. You're the one doing it. You're the one doing it. I see this shit all the fucking time. People gathering in groups on certain street corners, and then they all take pictures of the same thing as if they're like doing it for the first time. They may have been inspired, they may have been inspired. Fair fucks. You can be inspired. But if I was inspired and I went to a place and I was like, oh, here's that street corner, and there's like 50 people there, and they're all filming and taking pictures, and there's like Instagram people, and they're all trying to get this thing. I wonder about this technology. I wonder, because it's a new medium. I think it's surveillance, to be honest. I think it's surveillance because people use it to survey. They don't use it for art. They use it for monitoring purposes. I used to make some short films at university, and one of the big things that we had to do was like editing. And now that we have free movie editing equipment, most people are just like, nah, I'm going to use this just to take pictures of myself, or take pictures and image locations. And I think this equipment is really more about surveillance capitalism than it is about self-expression. So you take a picture of yourself in some location, and that gets geolocated and gets monitored, and you get some digital dopamine feedback as a result. It has nothing to do with art or passion. It's really about getting people out there to monitor themselves and each other in return for digital likes, little clicks where you open up and I have some data to manage. Good thing I uploaded that picture of myself in a crowd where millions of other people are doing the exact same thing, being total individuals, because we are the star, and we are in Tokyo, and we are doing the exploration with our real-time, well-endowed digital cocks. All right. Part 3. Eat things that are still alive. And one great thing about Asia, Japan in particular, is that they really have nailed down the art of eating animals that are still living. In particular, fish. Fish aren't really animals, right? They're more like a alien hybrid cousin that we don't fuck, but we eat while they're alive. So there's some great great things about eating things that are alive. Well, first of all, they're very fresh. Very fresh. When I read this article about this restaurant in, not Tokyo, but Shikoku. If you go to Shikoku, maybe you can check it out, where there is an octopus in a tank. And the chef pulled the octopus out of the tank, chopped off a few of its arms, and then threw the octopus back into the tank, prepared the octopus into edible pieces, fed it to the customers. And apparently the octopus arms, the suction cups off of the severed arms, the suction cups are still writhing as trying to retain some sort of life function. And when you put them into your mouth, you can feel the octopus arm writhing around in your mouth, and the suction cups are activating on your teeth and your tongue, and if you put them on the inside of your cheek, you can do that too. So this is a very traditional style of food in Asia particular, and Japan has its own version. So this is from the sorry to quote Wikipedia here, but eating live animals is the practice of humans eating animals that are still alive. It is fish in Japan. Ikizukuri is the preparation of sashimi made from live seafood. The most popular sea animal is fish, but octopus, shrimp, and lobster may also be used. I've never seen lobster. The fish is typically filleted without being killed and served while the heart is still beating and the mouth opening and closing. Sometimes the fish is temporarily returned to an aquarium to swim around and recover for a second course. In an interview, celebrity chef Raymond Blanc stated that in Japan he had eaten live eels. He was advised to add vinegar and sake, Japanese sake, which made them jump around, and then swallowed them whole. Yeah, you can also do this with ika, squid. You can prepare that so that it writhes around in your mouth as you're chewing onto it. So, sometimes with a cooked piece of beef, it's just lying there limp in your mouth, and you gotta edge your tongue and work your teeth around it. But with the live fish, it will writhe, and you don't need to use your tongue as much. You can just let the meat guide its way to your chompers and then get it down your throat that way. Now, it doesn't end there. There is one other thing that you can do regarding this kind of food. There's a type of kani miso, which is crab that has miso in it, and it's like the guts and the brains of the crab. And you mix miso with that, and it tastes really good. It tastes like the ocean floor. Really recommend it. I really recommend it. And then you can take this, how if you've ever been on the beach and you walk past a crab carcass and the bottom of the shell is kind of rotten out. Well, they don't exactly have that in Japan, but in Tokyo you can get, particular to Tohoku, you can get that kani miso. Kani means crab, where the crab has it's the body of the crab, not the legs, and the body of the crab is hollowed out, and then you can pour booze inside of that, some nihonshu, and you mix the Japanese sake with the miso and the brains and guts of the crab, and you mix that together in the crab's body. Then you bring that up to your lips, and you suck out all of the booze, the guts and the brains, and the miso. It tastes delicious. So if you ever come to Japan, I really recommend that you eat animals, and particularly fish, the heart still beating and the meat writhing, and then polish that off with some delicious nihonshu. Nihonshu inside of a crab's body with the miso and the brains and the guts. Be brave and live dangerously. Or do you want to be one of those lily-livered, what are they called? Lily-livered Lily-livered, yeah. Gone, at least among the responsible professional class, is the exuberance of the feast. Gone is the grand and pointless gesture. All right, we're getting into it. So that's the end of point 3. Eat things that are still alive. Finally, nope, not finally. Oh, finally is one doozy of a doozer. Number 4, be a Chinese tourist. Chinese tourism is a relatively new phenomenon. Before, they were just total poor commies dying in the tens of millions. And now they like money. They like money so much, there's millionaires made by the dozens on a daily basis. I have a lot of respect, actually, for the Chinese. Some of them are my students, and they're very quick on their feet regarding conversation and shifting topics and things like that. I don't mean sneaky. I just mean when the topic of the conversation in English changes, they're usually able to shift along with it. I think there's some sort of similarities between North American culture of just saying what you think, as long as you're not being faux pas about it. Like in North American culture, you can kind of say whatever you want, but if you're like, and that's why the blacks, and everyone's like, whoa, dude. I think the same thing is in China. You can kind of say what you want for the most part, but if you're like, and that's why the government, everyone's going to be like, whoa. So it's a weird correlation, but I think there is a lot of openness. So anyways, that was a weird tangent. But maybe it's true. Actually, I think it is true. I have these insights not because of my presumptions, but because of real world experience by the shitload. So there you go. Take a drink. Be a Chinese tourist. All right. Now, the great thing about onsens in Japan is these Japanese people find this way to bring up spring water, hot, volcanically heated spring water filled with minerals and all these such wonderful benefits to the soul and the mind, and they feed it into a pool and they temperature control it through irrigation and water flow. And then they put these baths outside in the mountains, and you can see sometimes, for example, Mount Fuji, which is always good to see. And then you can see some sort of mountainscape, or you can see a cliff in the distance meeting the ocean, and you have this water that's purifying your body. You're soaking up this water, and it's the most peaceful thing you would ever want. And that's why you should go into these onsens in groups, in your ethnic groups, and just start talking as loudly as you can. Yeah, that's what you need in the onsen. It's the perfect complement to the efforts of the onseners that managed to pull this water, the volcanic mineral water, out from the earth and position this bath outside where you can sit in it naked outside and nobody else can see you. The dimensions have been planned, and you're watching this beautiful mountain covered in mist and the wind dancing through the bamboo leaves, and you can hear a and maybe you can hear like some birds in the distance. And the perfect thing you need in that case is a bunch of Chinese tourists coming in as a group and going, yeah. So do that. That's a big recommendation. Also, what you can also do is you can go to Ginza. Ginza, the shopping mecca of Japan, where all of the brands meet, where all of the brands compete for what once was the most expensive real estate on earth. You can get your Hermes scarves. You can get your Louis Vuitton suitcases. You can buy diamond necklaces by Bulgari. And you can buy all of the most delicious, sumptuous chocolates in the world, all within a 3-block radius. And on weekends, to prevent this noisy traffic from coming in and disrupting this ode to capitalism, this ode to the finest products on earth, they close the traffic. No cars here on Ginza Avenue. We close off the cars and we put out tables with chairs. And of course, it's for rich shoppers and workers. And when their time is for a break, they're tired of shopping, tired of working for the shoppers, they go out and they sit on these nice little umbrella covered chairs in the summertime. And they relax. They take a break. They have a nice quiet cup of tea before moving on. Oh no, not anymore, folks. I was there. I used to. So I was there. Just dozens of people lying in the middle of the road. Not even in good clothes. We're talking, this is the new riche, which is kind of fun, like the nouveau riche, just trash with muddy. Sorry. I know, not all. It's true. They're just like really fat Chinese families in groups of 7 wearing like just purple t-shirts and black medium length shorts. Oh, they're all millionaires, maybe, or they're all rich enough to come to Ginza and shop there. They have like 5 rice cookers of the highest quality, but they're there in like their purple t-shirt and black shorts, and they're just sitting in groups of 10 in the middle of the road. Just, it's such a paradox to see this type of thing. And of course they're spending all this money, so the business is welcome, and money talks, so let them sit on the roads. It's just so bizarre. It would could you imagine going to some sort of mystical temple in China, but wearing a shirt, a t-shirt and shorts and sandals, and just going up to some like I don't know how to say it in English, some sort of religious edifice, and just like just sleeping on it. I would just get to sleep here. I'm a millionaire. Don't worry about it. But they don't have any malintentions behind it. But it's just so clueless. These giant, obese Chinese families with millions of dollars and poor fashion, lying on the streets with rice cookers stacked up amongst them. Well, do that. I had an interesting conversation once with the guy from China in a shopping district, and he kept on talking about where he was going in Japan, but he would use the Chinese pronunciation for the city names. He's like, yeah, next time I'm going to Chikohura. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what? And he would show me on his ticket. I'm like, oh, you mean Kyoto, because they just read it in the Chinese way. Then we're gonna go up to. I'm like, what? Oh, you mean Nagoya? It'd be like going to France and just saying like, where's your medical experiment theater? All right, so, oh, and finally, make sure you bring large suitcases with cheap plastic wheels. You need at least 2 of them, and the handles pull up and they come up to like your nipples, and you need to be wandering around Tokyo with 2 massive living room size suitcases up to your nipples, and hoping that works out for the best, because not only does it sound great, it's also just so convenient to take 2 living room size suitcases with you for a 10-day trip to Tokyo, because you really might need 80 pairs of socks. You really might need 10 years of DVD storage in your fucking memory files. Give me a break. Well, no, don't give me a break. I'm saying come here for your adventure. Come here for your adventure. Bring your living room into your adventure. All right. This next stop number 5, is a bit of a difficult one for me. No, it's not. It's about what not to become when you come to Japan. A lot of us long-termers in Japan came originally for only 1 year, but then certain things like economic chance and love and safety kept us here. And for other people, they come for other reasons. And one of them is this YouTuber who I'm already, circumspect of. Posting stuff onto YouTube, I understand. Being a YouTuber, it's one other thing altogether. I think we can agree on that. So there's this one YouTuber in Japan. Her name is Kanada Jin-san. And she's probably, her eyes are a little bit too far apart for normal analyzation. Sorry. But I wonder, she came to Japan to study. Her Japanese is like really good. And, but then she kind of went off the rails. So I think she appears to be like this super liberal, feminist style Muslim convert. And we're gonna kind of roast her in this video.
Hey everyone, Kanajin-san here, and today I am just going to try out wearing a hijab with my yukata. I'm already wearing it, but this is...
So it's a white girl wearing a Muslim headdress with a Japanese summer costume.
what it looks like putting it on. To be using this red scarf. The reason why I'm using this one is the only one that kind of matches my yukata colors. I don't have a hijab that matches my other yukatas, so I don't know how I can wear a hijab with those yukatas, but I decided today that since I'm going to the fireworks, I'm going to try and see what it's like wearing hijab out in the yukata. Honest.
So don't become that. Just don't go down this road. I have a hard enough time keeping it together. It's like, I see where Canada is, I'm Canadian, you kind of lose yourself a little bit after a while. I'll admit to that. Not lose yourself, but you're not with your peers. You're not with your school friends. You're not with a specific nationality if you live in Japan, like I do. I'm not one of these Nepalese people that come in massive groups and then set up schools. I'm just here as an individual. And so when I see what Canada is developing into, and then when I see what my friends are developing into as these kind of collectives and groups, and I'm going off on this other direction, I kind of feel like those South African white people that are just like in this totally separate culture going their own way, and they've only been recently kind of reconnected en masse into the rest of society via, LTE and 4K communication technology. So luckily I have music, and I have made some very important spiritual choices. But if you come as this open book, then you're going to become a feminist Muslim living in Japan. And good luck sorting yourself out with those contradictory sentiments. Let's listen to some more.
It's really hot, dying. Anyways,
Yeah, it's so hot, I'm going to cover my head with one black layer and then another red layer for my hijab, because that's just, it's pious.
big shout out to anyone who always wears hijab and always wears hijab when they're wearing yukata. You are so strong. So what I'm
Stupid.
gonna do is I'm going to put some of these accessories right on top. Before I had said that I wasn't going to wear hijab with yukata. If you are a full-time hijabi, I don't mean to disrespect you. Everybody is their own free will. Everybody has their own choice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck in the scarf. Some people...
Maybe she is living dangerously. I couldn't imagine just always trying to make these apologies and statements as a white woman wearing a hijab and a yukata in Tokyo in the summer. I have to say that if you don't want to tuck it in, you don't have to, sister. All right. So let's compare the last statement from her to the first statement in, not the first statement, but the beginning of the second chapter here. What is edge work? I've written this book for readers who want more out of life, a bit more brain stimulation, a little more excitement, perhaps a few more things to talk about at the next cocktail party or social gathering. My hope is that this book opens your mind to the world of interesting, edgy activities that require no great investment in time or money. And that's exactly what I set out to do with this podcast. So when you come to Tokyo, make sure you do these things. Come in your massive groups, film everything you see and upload it to social media websites with all of your friends at the same time in groups where other groups of people are also doing it at the same time. It's your time to vlog. You are the vlogger. Remember to eat things that are still alive. Feel the suction cups of a severed octopus leg grasping in the final spasms of its consciousness on your cheek on the inside. And then make sure to take a crab that's been hollowed out and mix its brains and guts with nihonshu, sake, and pour it down your tourist throat. Don't forget to be a Chinese tourist. Talk loud in the onsen. Sit in circles in Ginza streets with thousands of dollars worth of rice cookers. Ask for people. Tell people where you're going in Chinese. And always remember to bring large suitcases with rattly plastic wheels. Finally, always remember, never become Canada Jinsan. And with that, I would like to close this podcast and bid thee farewell. Thank you for tuning in to episode 103. DABWM awkward acronym 15. Drink a beer with me. In this case, it was a highball, but you get the idea. Have a good one, folks, and catch ya next time.
アイドホのことは知らないけどアイドホポテトは食べるよみんな食べるからねアイドホ行ったら国立公園で月のクレーター見るんだみんな見てるからねボイシーの近くで何か食べに行こうみんな食べるからねみんな食べるからねホーチミンで会った女の子名前はセブンお気に入りの数字は11僕はいい気分セブンイレブンいい気分チャンビールチャンビールタイのチャンビールちゃんと酔っ払ったよみんな酔っ払おうからねそれであゆたや雪のチケット買って歩き回っても酔っ払ってたよみんな見てたけどね ねコンカロイに立って歴史の長さに感動だみんな気にしないけどねみんな気にしないけどねホーチミンで会った女の子名前はセブンお気に入りの筋は11僕はいい気分セブンイレブンいい気分僕の目をまっすぐ見て南に行こう南に行こう僕の目をまっすぐ見て国境の南に行こう国境の南に行こうみんないないところはいいねビゲロバンと同じビゲロバンの宇宙バンガローに一部屋プリーズみんな行きたいでしょプロショの宇宙飛行士とスペースウォーカーパーティーだみんな飲みたいでしょ若者って物質で地球を見たら地図で見たのと全然違うよみんなびっくりだよねねみんなびっくり